Ilia Topuria,
Why?
because he's a fake.
Wow. Why do you say that?
I mean, on the real life, he behaving different. On the camera, he's talking shit and like completely different guy.
You don't think he owns that jet?
Oh my god! No way he owns that jet.
Why not?
You know how much cost that jet?
No idea.
Approximately maybe 20 mil.
I don't like Arman Tsarukyan that much, I don't have nothing against him, but to be honest, right now, he is the guy to fight for the belt.
Arman Tsarukyan is calling out Ilia Topuria after his win at UFC Qatar as he wants to snatch the lightweight belt from him. However, Ilia is not showing any interest in that fight, and Arman is taking shots at him for such kind of ducking. Arman Tsarukyan said, "Ilia's fall off is wild, from El Matador to El Pato, and now all the way to El Patético and El Panocha." Arman Tsarukyan also shares how much he dislikes Ilia Topuria. He even said that he would like to beat Ilia more than Islam Makhachev. He explains it's because Ilia acts differently in real life compared to how he presents himself on camera, calling him fake and saying his behavior doesn't match his public persona.
But do you think eventually you will get the Islam fight? And can I just ask, which one means more to you? Just the opponent, beating Islam or beating Ilia?
Right now, beating Ilia.
Even though the history is with Islam? You have more of a history with Islam, right?
Yes, I do have, but he moved to 170 and he's not going to come down anymore.
Okay. Who would mean more in terms of beating? Like, who don't you like more?
Ilia Topuria,
Why?
because he's a fake.
Wow. Why do you say that?
I mean, on the real life, he behaving different. On the camera, he's talking shit and like completely different guy.
Furthermore, Arman Tsarukyan believes Paddy Pimblett is being pushed by the UFC while he is the one who actually earns his position, explaining that he proves himself again when people question his spot. He feels he shows everyone he is the real deal and not someone getting by on hype. He points out that he works his way through every rank, from the bottom up to the top, and now that he is back at number 1, he feels there is no option left but to give him the title shot he believes he deserves. Arman Tsarukyan said, "I just proved that I'm the number 1 contender, and I showed everybody again that I'm the real deal. It's not like I'm just ranked number 1 for nothing. I'm not fake like Paddy Pimblett making his own rank. You see how they keep bringing him up because they want to give him a title fight, or I don't know what they want to do with him. I've been beating everybody, and I've deserved every spot. I went from top 15 to top 12 to top 10 to top 9 to top 5 to top 3 to top 1, and now I'm back at the top. I proved it again. I'm the number 1 contender, and now they have no choice but to give me the title fight." Meanwhile, Renato Moicano doesn't have anything personal against Tsarukyan, even though he isn't a big fan of him, but he believes he is the one who should be fighting for the belt right now. Looking at his UFC record, his only real losses came in a very close split decision against Gamrot and then against Makhachev on short notice in his debut. Since then, his performances have been strong, including a close win over Charles, and based on that overall run, Moicano feels he deserves to be next in line for a title shot.
Arman is very, he's very vocal about wanting to be next, to fight for the belt, to fight Ilia. Do you think he should be next?
Hey, Ariel, you know me, I don't like Arman Tsarukyan that much, I don't have nothing against him, but to be honest, right now, he is the guy to fight for the belt. I think with the performance that he had, and if you watch his record on UFC, like he only lost to Ganra, and that was a very hard fight. There was a split decision, if I remember. Maybe I'm mistaken, but there was a close fight, and then he lost to Makhachev on his debut, like with very short notice. So the guy against Joel Alvarez, he did a very good job, and now he beat Charles. Was a split decision too, but after that one, I think he's the number 1 contender. I think he should be fighting for the title next.
Renato Moicano can't understand how Paddy is ranked in the top 5 and believes it doesn't match what a true contender should look like. In his view, the UFC has no real reason to push Pimblett into a title fight since his recent wins came against fighters like Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, and Bobby Green, which doesn't justify such a high position. Even though Paddy won his last fight, the loss to Max Holloway still stands out, and because of that, Moicano feels there is no question that Arman should be the one fighting for the title next.
I think there is no doubt. Like if you're trying to see who is the best contender, I think right now, with no doubt, is Arman. You know, I think UFC is not gonna have any option to put Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is number 5 right now, but let's be honest, he just beat Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, and I don't even remember who, you know, somebody like Bobby Green, and he's number 5. Doesn't make any sense to put Paddy Pimblett to fight for the belt right now. And even Justin Gaethje, you know, he won his last fight, but he lost to Max Holloway before. I think, no doubt, Arman should be fight for the title next.
Arman Tsarukyan also criticized the lightweight rankings, questioning how Paddy Pimblett jumped straight into the top 5 after defeating lower-ranked fighters. He noted that he had beaten several opponents and went on a 5 or 6 fight win streak just to reach the top 15, while Paddy only needed 1 or 2 wins to reach the top 5.
Did you see he moved up to 5 now this morning? Did you see that?
Bro, how you can beat like a number 12 or number 13 and became number 5? I was beating everybody in our division. I beat like 5. I was on the 5 or 6 win streak to get in top 15, you know, and like this guy just beat 6 people and like he's number 5.
Arman mocked Ilia Topuria's flashy lifestyle, saying he isn't actually as wealthy as he tries to appear. He criticized Ilia for things like having his name on a carpet, calling it fake, and doubted that Ilia could really afford a private jet worth around $20 million. Arman believes it's impossible that Ilia is making that much money.
I'm not rich like Ilia Topuria flying the private jets always. Like put Topuria nickname under the carpet.
Yes, I saw that. You don't have that?
I don't have jet. You're supposed to have jet, not fake like he did, like fake carpet with his name or last name. And like, even how you can put your last name on the carpet and everybody like stepping on that thing.
You don't think he owns that jet?
Oh my God. No way he owns that jet.
Why not?
You know how much cost that jet?
No idea.
Approximately maybe 20 mil.
Serious?
At least 20 mil.
You don't think he's making that kind of money now?
No way.
Arman Tsarukyan also addressed rumors about being wealthy and unmotivated, saying that isn't true. He explains that he works harder than anyone, waking up every day feeling like he has nothing and pushing himself to improve constantly. Arman Tsarukyan said, "People think I'm rich and I'm not motivated, but I work harder than everybody. I wake up and I think I don't have anything in this life and I gotta kick my ass every day." On the other hand, Ilia Topuria revealed he is aiming for a fight with Islam Makhachev for a special catchweight pound-for-pound style title. He mentioned he might take one more fight before moving up in the summer, or the UFC could make a new belt at catchweight for them to compete for.
Pero bueno, vamos a ver, a lo mejor hago un combate y después en verano hay alguna fecha en la que sí que me dejen subir de categoría y pueda pelear por el tercer cinturón, o se cree un nuevo cinturón llamado el Pound for Pound en un peso pactado en donde nos encontramos los dos y peleamos por ese cinturón de libra por libra. Así que vamos a ver, hay muchísimas opciones, como siempre. Vamos a ver lo que depara el futuro.
Ilia Topuria even calls Islam Makhachev a boring fighter, saying JDM offered no real resistance and seemed completely unwilling to engage in the fight. He explains that Islam just fights the way he always does, focusing on his game without caring about entertaining the audience.
Bueno, Islam ahora se ha convertido en campeón de peso welter. La verdad que me decepcionó muchísimo su actuación, pero más que su actuación, la que me decepcionó más fue la actuación del campeón pasado, de Jack de la Madalena. La verdad que lo vi poniendo cero resistencia, lo vi como que con cero ganas de realmente estar en el combate, ¿no? Islam finalmente hizo su trabajo, lo que siempre hace, pelear súper aburrido, le da igual el público, que no es la forma en la que yo veo y me proyecto en este deporte, porque yo siempre apuesto para entretener a todo el mundo, de que la gente cuando invierte su tiempo, sus recursos para ir a verte, que realmente estén contentos de la inversión que hacen.
Earlier, Nate Diaz also called Islam Makhachev a boring fighter and questioned his #1 pound-for-pound ranking. He feels Islam hasn't defeated anyone truly impressive, and his recent fights are so unremarkable that they seem dull. Diaz also thinks Islam's name doesn't deserve to be part of the top pound-for-pound discussion.
In your opinion, who's the #1 pound-for-pound fighter right now in the UFC?
Who's in the UFC right now? John for sure.
What about Islam?
They just throw that They just throw like that. He's been here for like 2 minutes and he ain't beat nobody that's great.
Oh.
And they think I'm just hating, but I'm like, that's because we got our differences, but there's that I've seen that I'll just remember forever. So when you get that like that and you got whatever Islam did, and it's like, that don't even match, like, I ain't seen nothing from them. I can't even remember anything but getting bored in all them fools last fight. So that name shouldn't even been thrown at those guys. Yeah.
However, Tony Ferguson is impressed with Islam Makhachev's record and believes Islam is building his own legacy and stepping out from Khabib's shadow, explaining that out of respect for his coach and family, Islam stayed in the background for a long time, but now the circumstances have allowed him to shine on his own. He views Islam as his own athlete who isn't focused on comparisons or past legacies, and instead is concentrated on what he's doing right now, noting that all athletes ultimately try to pass knowledge forward to the next generation, while also humorously adding that a short time training at his own academy would make someone better than anyone coming out of Dagestan.
Do you think that Islam already surpassed Khabib's legacy now that he was lightweight and now welterweight champion?
Well, I think when Khabib's dad was there, I think his cousin was in the shadows, not wanting to pass him, just because out of respect when it goes into like your teacher and your coaches and certain things like that. I think when everything was all said and done and Khabib retired and the family things and so on and so forth, that he finally had his time to shine. I think he's his own athlete. I don't think he really concerns himself about Khabib or anything else that what he's doing. I think at the end of the day, I mean, we're all athletes when it comes down to it. We're trying to pass it and pay it forward to the next generation of athletes. Yeah. But I tell you what, 1 or 2 years at Tony Ferguson's camp in the academy, and you'll be better than Dagestan wrestlers any day.
On the contrary, Renato Moicano rates Ilia Topuria higher than Islam Makhachev and believes he is the best fighter in the lightweight division right now. He feels Makhachev is very difficult to beat because of his grinding style, but in Moicano's eyes, Ilia stands out more as a complete martial artist. While Islam may have the edge in pure wrestling and grappling, Moicano sees Ilia as a dangerous finisher on the feet and on the ground and thinks he has the potential to become one of the greatest of all time.
Elias Topuria is the best fighter right now on the lightweight division, and it's going to be tough, to beat Makhachev, because Makhachev has a game like that is very boring, but it is what it is right now. Like, it's very hard to beat Makhachev, and I think even on the pound-for-pound rankings, because the 2 belts and all that stuff. But to me, Elias Topuria is the best fighter in the UFC right now. Like, if you talk about striking and grappling wrestling, Makhachev might be better on the grappling wrestling, but Ilia Topuria is a knockout artist and a grappler and a submission artist. I think he is one of the best, and he definitely could be the greatest of all times, I think. Ilia Topuria has everything together,
Renato Moicano isn't sure if Ilia could succeed after moving up in weight because he isn't a big lightweight, and jumping to 170 would be especially difficult. Still, he doesn't completely doubt him, especially after the way Ilia knocked out Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. Moicano thinks Ilia would definitely be the underdog at those higher weights, but if he somehow manages to win there, it would make him the greatest of all time in his eyes.
Do you think if he moved up to 170, as he is saying he wants to do very soon, he can win at 170 and beat Islam over there?
I don't know if he can beat Islam. I think that would be very hard, especially him being that small. He's not big even for a lightweight, But I don't doubt him. A guy that knocked Volkanovski out, knocked Max Holloway out, knocks Charles Oliveira out, I think he could possibly go to 170 and beat Topuria. He will not be the favorite for sure. He will be the underdog. But if he does that, he's the greatest of all time, no doubt.
Meanwhile, the fans believe Ilia Topuria should first pass the challenge of defending his belt against top contenders and then think about any move. Daniel Cormier agrees with the fans and considers Arman Tsarukyan as the true top contender to fight Ilia Topuria. He thinks Paddy Pimblett is exciting and has potential, but right now, the best lightweights are Arman and Ilia, especially with Islam Makhachev moving up in weight. Cormier also found it odd that Paddy confronted Ilia in the octagon after winning the belt, since defeating Michael Chandler didn't really justify a title shot.
I think Paddy Pimblett's fun. I think Paddy Pimblett has a bright future in fighting. But I believe that the two best lightweights in the world, if Islam Makhachev is now the welterweight champion, it's Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria, bro. And that's not even in question anymore. I thought that Paddy Pimblett getting in the octagon after Ilia won the belt was, to me, it was a little bit odd because I didn't feel like him beating Michael Chandler should have warranted him being in that spot. I thought that the biggest issue would be trying to do away with the images of Paddy in the cage with Ilia after he became the champion.
Daniel Cormier further explained why Arman Tsarukyan is the most dangerous opponent for Ilia Topuria, highlighting Arman's size, strength, high-level wrestling, and strong striking, along with his ability to control opponents on the ground. Cormier thinks this well-rounded skill set makes Arman a serious threat, capable of applying pressure and control similar to what Islam Makhachev does.
But then when you watch Arman Tsarukyan last weekend, bro, he's big, he's strong, he can really wrestle, he can strike, he can do just about everything, and his top control is what's a real issue. And I believe that's the problem. That's the scary thought for anyone that are Ilia Topuria fans. Because if there's anyone that could replicate that game of Makhachev, or at least to a degree, Arman Tsarukyan.
On the other hand, Arman Tsarukyan is not interested in fighting anyone unless it is for the title or against Conor McGregor. He makes it clear that he doesn't want to take another bout before getting his shot at the belt, and if the opponent isn't Conor, he would rather not step into the cage at all. He also believes his style would be a serious problem for McGregor. Arman Tsarukyan said, "No way I'm fighting before getting a title shot. If it's not Conor McGregor, I wouldn't fight. I'm a nightmare for Conor." That wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe for more great MMA content.